6월의 영화 학습. 반갑습니다. 반갑습니다. 오늘은 프란시스로 함께 하도록 하겠습니다. 이제 영화를 시작해 볼까요?
When I was a kid in the suburbs of Chicago, adventure meant Quetico Provincial Park. Quetico is a 1,000,000-acre nature preserve. The park was isolated and so pristine you could actually drink the water straight from the lakes. But I won't be going back to Quetico anytime soon. Not after what happened to a girl named Frances Brandywine.
항상 이런 녀석이 있죠.
Frances was 17 at the time, black-haired and with a reckless nature, determined always to leave the well-trod path, to break new ground and be alone. A few years ago, Frances was up in Quetico with her family. They were in a remote part of the park, camped on the shore of one of the deeper lakes,
가고 싶다.
a lonely body of water carved millions of years ago by a passing glacier.
음산하네.
The deep part of this particular lake was rumored to be about 300 feet.
엄청 깊다.
One night after her family went to bed, Frances took the rowboat out,
헐.
planning to find a quiet spot in the middle of the lake, lay on the bench of the boat, look up at the sky, and maybe write in her journal. So she left the shore, rowed for about 20 minutes.
강심장이다.
When she felt satisfied that she was over the lake's deepest spot, she lay down on the bench and looked up at the night sky.
뭔가 이상한 거야.
She was feeling very peaceful. Then she heard something strange. It was like a knock. She sat up, guessing that the boat had drifted to shore and run aground. But she looked around the boat, and she was still a half a mile from shore. She leaned over the side to see if she'd hit anything, but she saw nothing. No log, no rocks. She lay back down. She relaxed again and soon fell into a contented reverie. She had just closed her eyes when she heard another knock. This time it was louder, a crisp, like the sound of someone knocking hard on a wooden door. Except this knocking was coming from the bottom of the boat.
뭐야 이게?
Now she was scared. She leaned over the side again. It had to be an animal. But what kind of animal would knock like that? 3 quick, loud knocks in rapid succession? Her mouth went dry. She held onto each side of the boat, and now she could only wait to see if it happened again. The silence stretched out. A few minutes passed, and just as she began to think she'd imagined it all, the knocks came again, but this time louder. She had to leave. She lunged for the oars. She got them in place and began rowing.
불 맞아.
The water was very calm, so she should have made quick progress. But after rowing feverishly, she looked around, and she realized that she wasn't moving at all. Something was keeping her exactly where she was. Again, she tried rowing. She rowed and rowed on the verge of tears, but she went nowhere. She stopped. She was exhausted. Her heavy breathing filled the air.
이거 어쩌란 말이야 이거.
She cried. She sobbed. But soon she calmed herself again, and the boat was silent again for 10 minutes. Then 20. Again, she tricked herself into thinking she'd imagined it all. But just like before, just when she was beginning to get a grip on herself, the knocking came again, this time as loud as a bass drum. The floorboards of the boat shook with each knock. Now she was so shaken, she started making questionable decisions. The first was to lower one of the oars into the black water, trying to feel if there was some landmass, even some creature she could touch. As soon as the oar broke the water's surface, though, she felt a strong, silent tug at the other end, and the oar was pulled under. She screamed, she jumped back, and now she had no options. All she could do was sit and hope and wait. Wait for the morning to come. Wait for whatever was going to happen to happen. The knocking went on through the night. She passed the time writing in her notebook. And it's only because of this notebook that we know what happened that night. Frances can't tell us. She was never seen again. The boat was found on shore the next day, empty but for the journal. On those pages were her frantic jottings, all written in her distinctive handwriting, all but the last page, When the journal was found, that page was still wet, and on it were 4 words, looking as if they'd been written quickly with a muddy finger. They said, I did knock first.
I did knock first. 와. 영화 감상. 공포, 두려움, 무서움, 그리고 불안함. 언제 이런 감정을 느껴보셨나요? 저 같은 경우는 내비가 처음 나왔을 때 내비 믿고 여행을 갔었잖아요. 근데 목적지는 나오지 않고 점점 더 산속 깊은 곳으로 가고 있는 거. 그리고 목적지에 가까웠대요. 이때 오는 무서움, 불안함 굉장히 컸죠. 우리가 사는 세상도 그렇지 않나 싶습니다. 세상을 두렵게, 불안해하며 공포스럽게 살아가는 삶. 이유가 도대체 뭘까요? 그 해답이 이 영화에 들어있어요. 시작하며 프란시스를 소개한 사람은 왜 쿼티코로 캠핑을 가지 않겠다고 했을까요? 그 답이 해답이 되지 않을까 싶습니다. 그 이유가 프란시스의 죽음에 대해 밝혀지지 않았기 때문입니다. 만약 밝혀졌다면 그렇게 두려워할 이유가 없어요. 왜? 거기에 대한 대처를 하면 되니까. 여기서 암과 모름의 차이에 대해서 한번 점검을 해야 되지 않나 싶습니다. 알면요, 당당하고 즐길 수 있고 겸손해질 수 있어요. 네, 아는 사람이 겸손해집니다. 모르면 겸손하지 않아요. 모르면 두려움 속에 교만해집니다. 인간이 가장 두려워하는 것은 죽음이죠. 죽음. 이거 누가 부정할 수 있겠어요. 그래서 사람을 위협할 때 많이 쓰는 말, 나 죽을래! 죽을래! 이런 말 하잖아요. 이순신 장군도 비슷한 말을 하셨네요. 네, 손자병법을 인용한 거긴 하지만 죽고자 하는 자는 살고 살고자 하는 자는 죽는다. 즉 죽음을 각오하면 못할 것도 없다는 얘기죠. 만약 인간이 죽음을 안다면 그 또한 두려워하지 않을 겁니다. 몰라요. 영원히 모릅니다. 왜냐하면 죽어본 사람이 없어요. 죽어봤다는 건 경험해봤다는 건데 경험은 죽었다가 살아나야 하는 거 아니에요? 근데 죽으면 아무도 돌아오지 못합니다. 이렇게 영원히 떠나가네요. 이 애니메이션이 공포인 이유 아무도 몰라요. 프란시스가 어떻게 됐는지 이야기하지 않아요. 그저 노트에 기록되어 있는 낯선 진흙글씨, 노크 먼저 했는데 I did knock first, 이 말밖에 없다는 거예요. 옆에 있는 그림을 보면 한 여자가 칼을 들고 있어요. 그리고 가면을 쓰고 있는데 나는 누구일까? 엄마일까? 강도일까? 만약에 엄마라면 이거는 놀이죠. 좀 섬뜩한 놀이긴 한데 엄마가 칼 들고 있으면 요리하시나 보다 그렇게 생각하잖아요. 근데 강도가 칼 들고 있으면 이거는 공포예요. 공포. 이보다 무서운 게 어딨어요. 여기서 우리는 생각해 봐야 돼요. 우리가 배우는 이유가 뭘까? 우리가 학습하는 이유가 뭘까? 우리가 책을 읽는 이유가 도대체 뭘까? 네, 두렵지 않기 위해서예요. 세상을 무섭지 않게 살기 위해서. 알면 두렵지 않다니까요. 알면 당당할 수 있어요. 그리고 겸손할 수 있습니다. 모르면 두려워요. 그래서 교만해지기도 합니다. 오늘 영화 여기까지 나누겠습니다. 고맙습니다.
안녕히 계세요, 여러분!